Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Matt DeWolf. I am the host of Better Car Washing Everywhere, and we are on the show floor here at the Car Wash Show 2026 in the Arcadian Services booth, and we're recording live sessions, live episodes of this podcast. I've got a fun one for you coming up next. We've got Mike Ohlinger. That's not right. We've got Mike Ohlinger. We've got Mike Ohlinger joining us for the show. I was so proud of myself because I did a good job teeing it up in the last episode, and then in the live moment, I can't do it. Mike, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's a hard name. It's German, I think. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, it shouldn't be that hard. I mean, it's really just phonetics, but sometimes phonetics are hard.
I like the J sound though.
Yeah.
I mean, it works.
I mean, it's kind of nice. Like maybe you could be like Ohlinger.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, Mike. Michael Ohlinger. Yeah, that's what's next. I'm pumped for this conversation because you and I have been talking about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things that everybody is kind of jumped feet first into the deep end on, but we may need to reel it back a little bit. So let's talk a little bit first just about who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into a nice AI conversation.
Definitely.
But we are real. We are real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Supposedly. My name is Mike Ohlinger. I'm with OhmCo Car Wash Marketing. My wife and I have been doing this for about 7 years. So we've been into the industry and seen things change pretty dramatically the last several years, especially with AI rolling out. Based in Needham, Wisconsin, just moved to Appleton, Wisconsin, so we moved a whole 10 miles north, so moving on up. Again, excited to talk about this.
Okay, so let's get into it, right? Because we've seen several services pop up over the last 2 years, 3 years or so in this space where it's AI answering services, and you're seeing lots of AI dashboards and lots of AI this, AI that. Talk a little bit about just kind of what you're seeing and what customers of yours are doing and how they're leveraging the platforms.
Yeah, I like to say we're kind of like on the iPhone 3 level of like adoption right now and where the technology is. And I think I was talking about this a couple months ago at a conference. I think things are a little over-promised and under-delivered right now. We can kind of get into that a little bit more. But as far as what I'm seeing with our customers, we're seeing some of these like time-consuming tasks being taken over, these administrative things primarily. I'm seeing a lot of marketing work being done for good or bad. Again, that's a big topic. I would say marketing is probably the biggest thing that we're seeing operators kind of start to embrace because it's so easy and accessible right now. There's so many consumer-grade models that you can jump into, either free or very low cost, $20 a month, and you can have image generation, copy generation. So what's working with operators again is those time-consuming tasks. The ones that are, I think, using AI the best are developing their own SOPs. So when they're bringing on new trainees or new employees, they have this bevy of information, and they can hand it over to their new employee, and it's like an interactive database of information. So you can say, hey, how do I do this? You have a concise, intelligent answer right there. So that's one of the most exciting things for me is like being able to digest this complex information and interact off hours that we're seeing with operators right now being very successful. So there's that.
Let's talk about that a little bit because I think it's really interesting, the onboarding piece. For operators who are maybe in the 1 and 2 and 3 location space, one of the hardest things for them to do is to get to those SOPs across the board, right? And so, one of the things we would always used to advise people is, hey, write it down, write out all the things. Well, now it's even easier, right? Like if you can record it on your phone, you can use one of the apps, just record the process as you're doing the process. So if there's a specific way that you want things to be maintained, talk it out as you do it. Say, first we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. Then you transcribe it, you send the transcription to AI, and ta-da, SOP.
Yeah. And it makes keeping them up to date really easy. I come from a technical writing background, so some of this like really hurts my heart. So I love documenting, and I still do. But now I can put together a process. We can have them all live with nomenclature in our AI, LLM environment. And when we make an update, I just say, hey, we're changing this process, and it's going to change all the affected documents immediately without me having to go and change those myself. So it's a really fun time if you're a nerd like me who wants to keep your documentation up to date. And but when we bring on new employees or contractors, like we have this information documented, and we can theoretically hand over the keys to that platform and say, hey, if you have any questions, here's your first line of defense. Interact with this and then come to us.
Well, and that maintainability is really important, because the truth is that all of those SOPs, while they are SOPs, they do change over time, and you have to stay on top of that. And so often you see someone who has maybe been in this business for 10 years, and how they actually operate and what's written down in the SOPs are not the same thing.
It's so easy for things to get out of date. Like if you don't have that process in place, like your documentation is useless after a year. Here, you can just update as you go very easily. You can have the app on your phone, say, hey, we're changing this from 1 week to 2 weeks, and then it's going to make that change for you.
Yeah, and it flows everywhere through everything. Yeah. Nobody's going to miss it. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like when it's a human eye, and you're trying to be like, oh wait, what was that file called? What is it? Final, or is it like final version 2?
Exactly.
Like which one is it? Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Talk a little bit about from a marketing perspective, right? Because I think that's near and dear to me, because I live in the content space.
Yeah.
It's a whole like box of worms, ball of wax, bowl of speak. I don't know what it is. It's a mess. Talk about what you're seeing people do.
So we are like a design-first agency. So again, this is a little controversial for us. We do, like we use it internally, and we'll talk about that a little later. But when you're using generative AI for images, or even video now, which I'm very firmly against at this point, copy, writing emails, things like that. The biggest pitfall that we're seeing is some of these operators just assume that the output is done.
It's ready.
Immediately.
It's ready to go. It's ready to go.
No proofreading. There's no looking at the image and then seeing those 6 fingers, or the logo on your shirt doesn't represent your real logo. Those models are going to continue to get better in time, and that won't be an issue in a couple of years probably. But right now, there's a big level of distrust with consumers when they see those errors in your AI generated content. I think I saw a stat right now, natively 73% of people are mistrust advertisements that openly use AI assets in them or generated content. So you're immediately starting at a deficit. Now the way around that is creating really good outputs. Like if you don't have a designer, if you don't have a marketing team, if you're a single site operator and want access to these tools and want high polished looking content, this is a great opportunity for you. But you have to put the work in. You have to make sure that you're making multiple passes of your imagery and your copy to make sure that you're getting away from some of those common AI pitfalls. So it's an interesting thing.
Well, it is. It really is garbage in, garbage out.
Oh, 100%.
And so many people think that first output is final. It can never be final. Not in the AI space. I have a group I work with who their audience skews probably 26 and lower primarily. And the truth is that no one is better at picking out AI than folks in that demographic, and they will be very vocal about it. And so they posted a Mother's Day thing, and it didn't have 6 fingers, but the fingers were very strangely shaped. They were really like not proportionate to whatever, and the hand was like a little too far. Like don't know how it got around the waist. It was just weird. But you had to look for it, and I had to look twice because I'm becoming a man of a certain age. Yeah. And I looked at the comments on this post, torched. Oh, yeah. They just torched them, and so they had to. This group had to turn off comments.
Yeah. The thing is, like, consumers are automatically assuming if you're using AI generated outputs right now that it's lazy. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because to get a good output, you do have to put a little bit of work into it. You have to know how to kind of massage the prompts a little bit. I'm not saying it's art, because I don't think it is. It's not. Coming from, again, my wife Mel, who's the owner and CEO of OhmCo here, she is an artist, classically trained. This is prompt engineering, but there is work that goes into it, and I do understand that. So I don't think using AI is lazy, because again, like, ideally, if you are a single site operator, you don't have a lot of money or resources to put towards marketing. this is a really good opportunity to look polished. One of the things that I really recommend to a lot of operators that we work with, in terms of generating brand new content, use it to upscale existing content. So you don't know maybe you don't know Photoshop, but you took a picture of your self-survey on a rainy day. Hey, you put it in there, be clear with your prompts. You want it to look sunny, nice, a little bit vibrant. Then you don't have to do you don't need to own Photoshop. You can get some pretty good output there. So use existing content and kind of upscale it that way. That's, again, what I recommend to a lot of the operators we work with who might not have the resources.
Well, that's a great idea, and remembering that it is an iterative process, and so when you get that first one and it's like, the blues are too blue and it's really bright orange, being able to go back and then say, okay, that's a good first pass. Let's dial it back a little bit, make it a little bit more photorealistic. Yeah. So knowing the words to use and knowing how to talk to the prompt is going to make a big difference in what you ultimately get.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. The video is an entirely different category.
I'm a no on video. I'm
very much the same way, with a couple exceptions, but I still am. I have very strong feelings towards that. It's expensive to try to generate, very expensive. I very, very rarely have gotten any consistent output when I play with it. I tend to advise stay away from it. Far away. There was I don't know if anyone remembers this, I think it was last year or the year before.
Do you know what those blowers are to those big ones? Those big dryers?
The big dryers.
Dryers that are different.
I'm not.
Good question.
I'm not sure.
The green.
I think Aero Dry is straight back that way in a trailer.
Thank you.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
That's what happens when you're live at the car wash show.
Yeah. It's exciting. Like all these people. This is awesome. What I was saying, I don't know if you remember, Coca-Cola did a big push, and this is a multi-billion-dollar corporation with all the resources in the world. They use AI to generate their holiday ad, which is like beloved, and it got rightfully trashed online. So roundabout way of saying, avoid looking at a video at this point, please.
I just think it's one of those things that you have to maintain some level of reality.
Yeah.
And once you get to the point where humans literally are not appearing in the video production that's happening, you lose reality, you lose what you can trust, and you really don't have an idea, especially when you think about why would I not, this might be the worst thing that I'm going to say because then somebody might go do this, but if I own 5 to 10 washes, why don't I just AI create lots of positive customer reviews and not have to worry about trying to go get them? And now I've got all these testimonials, and now this stuff is out there, and they're not real.
It's really funny you mentioned that. So this isn't necessarily tied to the car wash industry, but we're seeing user-generated content. You see these point of view perspectives. If you scroll TikTok, YouTube, these shorts of people unboxing or reviewing products, and there are services out there which will create fake user-generated content reviews for products. So now you don't even have to include the actual product in the review. Yes. So
terrifying.
It's
terrifying.
It's scary.
Or a huge opportunity for somebody.
Sure.
I mean, however you want to slice it. So that's creation on one side. There's the other thing that's coming up is there's a complete shift in search, and AI is driving that because there's the little top summary that comes in, and that's about as far as people go. Talk a little bit about AEO.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing we focused on as far as our agency goes in the car wash world this last year and a half, is optimizing all of our sites for AEO. It's exciting for me because I feel like we're kind of going back to traditional SEO standards where we're not just padding keywords in copy anymore on websites. If you remember, I'm sure if you search a recipe for banana, brittle or whatever, you get the life story of your grandma before, and you get the recipe at the bottom, and that's a result of a keyword-driven SEO. So now it's really rewarding authentic, really well-structured content now on your website. We're seeing FAQs work really, really well again, because that's, again, question and answer based content. So are you a touchless car wash? Do you have free vacuums? And you can get more granular. Do you offer graphene or ceramic? Anticipating what your customers are going to be asking ahead of time is hugely rewarding in terms of those sections. Blogs too are really powerful again, which I was not expecting to ever happen again, which is nice for me. I love blogs. I love writing them and reading them. So I'm again a nerd, but sharing your family's story, your history. This is a family-owned watch that's been around for 40 years, and your grandpa started it, and it's gone down through the generations, and here's all the stories, and that's powerful again now. If you're structuring the content in a very specific way. So it's been when somebody comes to us and they want to rank. They want to appear above their competitors or just want to appear in general. That's the very, very, very first thing we look at is, are you optimized for AEO, for SEO? And we kind of check those initial boxes first.
And so you said it in a very specific order. You said AEO, SEO. Is that how you're starting your approach these days?
We still kind of adhere to like the traditional SEO standards. Like Google has very specific set of rules, and it's not just what we're making up. Like you can find this online. Like if you really want to, search for it and geek out. So we really adhere to those traditional SEO rules. What Google's kind of establishing first, and then kind of build the rest of the site around that new AEO standards. What's working. And granted, like this could change tomorrow. We're seeing things are moving so rapidly. So what's working right now might not work a week from now or 2 weeks. It's a really, really interesting time to be a web dev.
Well, and is that exciting or is that terrifying for you?
Both.
Yeah.
I can go on Lovable and which is a programming app. There's dozens of them out there, but I can generate a website very quickly using something like that. It's not good. It's not. It doesn't adhere to a lot of those AEO and SEO standards, but where that's headed is a little terrifying. I think the human-generated, intentional, structured content is still always going to win out. I shouldn't say always. It's for the foreseeable future. But that's kind of the state of the search and AEO side right now. It's extremely powerful, and a lot of, especially in the car wash industry, a lot of people are not adhering to those rules, and they're not taking advantage of it right now. So if you are, you're probably already ahead of your competition at this point. So
does that reward kind of first to market in that space? Like if I'm doing a good job of it and I'm already there, does that give me a leg up? In 6 weeks when somebody figures it out?
Not necessarily. I've seen really small operations. Again, these single sites compete with very well-established brands that have been around a lot longer. As long as you're intentional with it and you're doing things correctly, you can get a leg up, which again is why it's exciting for me, where you can be somebody with not tons of resources and compete now without throwing tons of money at Google or Meta. So it's a cool time.
Well, and you mentioned that it could change, in 6 hours basically, because it did. It literally did. Like there was one day when you went to Google and you searched and it was still what you expected to see, and then the next day, bam!
Yeah.
It was like, oh, what's that at the top? Oh, that's my new answer, and that's going to be my answer from now on.
Yeah, there's such lack of transparency with these major AI developers, where again you don't really know what's working. So a lot of these things that we're doing today is a result of guesswork or trial and error, A/B testing. It's kind of uncharted waters, and that lack of transparency is cool because again it rewards that experimentation and, oh hey, this really worked. Let's replicate it across a couple brands, and maybe it didn't work for this brand now, and what's the problem there? So you got to kind of tweak it and adjust as you go. We've kind of talked offline before about regulation pushes, or there could be a new model that comes in that disrupts everything. I know OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT, was talking about doing advertising within the platform. So So now if I search for touchless car wash near me, maybe Joe's Car Wash put $1,000 down, and now, oh, it's going to appear in that answer. So
I think we just found our next Yelp.
there you go.
I think
Yeah.
another thing for car washes to hate, right? Spend more money with us. Although, you know, I mean, that's where it's going.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where everything goes. It's the road to capitalism, right? Like, no, we can't sit here and think that AI was created for the betterment of humanity, because it just wasn't.
Yeah, none of these models are profitable. Like these
Yet.
major, well, yet. These major platforms they're just hemorrhaging money. But that has to end sometime. To your point, I don't want to be cynical about that. I am in real life, but for the purposes of here, I don't want to be, because this is such a exciting. It's a disruptive, but a very excitingly disruptive technology. It's the biggest thing since, you know, the inception of the internet. I don't know where it's going to be in a year from now. I don't know where it's going to be 3 years from now. I have no idea. And that's exciting. It's a little scary, but right now, at this point in time, it's a huge opportunity for people in the car wash space to compete, to represent their brand online, and appear in front of the customers.
Yeah, there are literally endless possibilities with how to leverage this technology, and you know, I think as long as we are responsible in that use, right, and like spend the time and pay attention and do all those things that you need to do to validate, you know, trust but verify, right? So like make sure that the output is good, that it stays along with your brand, that it didn't tell you something that just fed into your bias. All of these things will lead to better results for us down the road, and I think will give us back a lot of our time in ways that we can then focus that on human-to-human connection. And I think that's important. I think that's where the real opportunity lies. I am curious, though, you know, we're talking about at some point it does go to money. Well, we do know that data is very valuable, and we also know that all of us are pumping data and information into these models. I'm curious, should we really be just building our own? What do you think?
That's a great question. There, like in the car wash space specifically, there's some really great developers who have teams of engineers who have built their own models for very specific things. You know, your AI receptionists. That's one of the biggest things I think we've seen pop out the last couple of years is that AI, the AI-driven, you know, phone call answering and
like member management a little bit, yeah.
And so. Yeah, there's definitely developers who are building their own kind of siloed environments, which I think are always going to be better as far as data protection goes. It's a legitimate concern because to your point earlier about maybe I don't want to feed all of my customer data into this machine, and it's going to be used for my competition down the line. Maybe not directly, but it'll kind of trickle its way down. It's not easy though right now. That kind of goes back to that analogy of like, hey, we're still in early adoption here. My kind of like litmus test is when my mom starts to use it, and she just has, like, very, very briefly. We had a conversation recently about it, and she finally was warming up to the idea of using that. So we'll see. But this still isn't. I wouldn't say this still isn't really like consumer grade tech yet. Even like something like Claude. Claude just released Cowork a couple months ago, which I love. It's an environment that lives on your PC, and you can have it do admin tasks directly on your computer. Knowing what you want it to do, though, is a huge thing, and knowing its capabilities. And I think the majority of the public doesn't really have an idea how to use that intelligently. But you know, I've seen operators use it to compile reports or build build some internal tools that work really well that they just keep for their staff. I think we still have a little bit of ways to go until that adoption is really there, and that's when the pricing is going to hike up, and that's when the commoditization is going to really hit, I think. So.
Well, I think what's cool about that is really this idea that there's no roadmap for this thing, right? And like to your point, we get to experiment and we get to go all kinds of different directions and figure this thing out. But that lack of education in terms of knowing what it can do, I think is really hard to overcome, because when you look at like a cloud co-work space, well, then people are going to get into that, and they're just going to do what their friend told them to do. So I'm going to do that. So it's going to be a long road, I think, to kind of building that out and getting to really comfort levels with it. But I think also trying to build your own, you know, there's stuff that will make that easier for you, but you still got to have a little bit of like tech nerd in you to like go down that path and to do it. So I don't know that that's ultimately where this thing is going, but I do think there's going to be a push at some point around security and, as you said, kind of some regulation around what's okay and what's not, and who owns the data and who doesn't, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't until recently where very recently where I first was kind of confronted with the reality that I can start running some of these models on my own local machine. You know, I will say, like, we take a lot of precautions to protect our data. We have to. We're dealing with very sensitive information, and so, you know, we're not just, you know, feeding everything in there. But yeah, I think we're getting closer to that becoming a reality, where what I envision is especially some of the bigger operations or bigger businesses are going to have that network server built out with their local AI kind of running things. So yeah, I think that's kind of where we're working towards, and I'm all for that.
Well, yeah, I think as much as people want to say AI is going to replace lots of things, it's going to replace some things. But I think it's like anything else. It's pickaxe industries, right? It's going to create other opportunities and other jobs and other things that we can do, and then are going to open up opportunities for people. So I'm not doom and gloom on it, other than, you know, once the robots start building their own robots, then we might be in trouble. Then we might be in trouble.
Agreed. Yeah.
Mike, is there anything else that we should be kind of thinking about, worried about, when it comes to how we might want to implement AI in our own business?
Yeah, just be intentional with it. It's still a flashy thing. It's still a novelty in a lot of ways, but I think we're slowly getting to the point now where this isn't as much of a novelty anymore, and it's a real tool. Mm-hmm. You can get, you know, legitimate results if you're willing to use it as a serious tool in terms of your time and money resources. You know, it was fun generating images of, like, Muppet versions of me, you know, last year, but now you can do some serious business functions with it. So I'm excited about it, but be wary. There's another point. I've said this before, and I say it a lot. We're in kind of like a grifter period right now. Because it is really easy to build out apps and deploy them and sell them. There's YouTube videos for influencers to walk through how to build these tools, and I'm not seeing a lot of this in the car wash industry, but it's out there for other functions. So just be wary, do your research, and be very intentional with the data that you're willing to kind of send to these models.
I think that's super great advice, because we are in a period where things can go from ideation to development to product release so fast because of AI, but that also means that they are untested, they are unsupported, there's no mechanism for updating them down the road. So as someone who might be evaluating any of those kinds of technologies, I think it's super important now, more than ever, to do that due diligence and to ask the hard questions and to come at it with a little bit of a skeptical lens, because if it sounds too good to be true, it really is. It really is. Really. So, last question for you. I always want to know, what's one thing that we can do today, Mike, that's going to make us better tomorrow?
Yeah. I'm going to speak from from your online presence. There's an article in this month's Car Wash magazine here that's at the show about, I think Kyle Doyle wrote it, about this common thing that we talk about, the car wash industry being 10 years behind. It was funny kind of seeing it with the words. But what you can do today is always just make sure your online digital presence is up to snuff. You don't need to sink a ton of money, time, resources into it. There's some very, very basic things you can do in terms of your website. again, we were talking about the AEO stuff. Build an FAQ section. Anticipate some of those responses or questions that your customers are going to have. Build that out. Start writing about your company. Let's get back to those basics, and be proud of this business and brand that you're building, and get it out there. You're going to be rewarded for it. So yeah, let's kind of build the internet, and in turn AI back into this positive, fun, info-centric place. And I think we have a lot of opportunity to do so, especially in the car wash industry.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super exciting. It's going to be a super fun adventure as we kind of figure it all out and move out of the grifter phase. I'd like to get out of the grifter phase, although that is kind of fun. You see some pretty crazy stuff.
Wild West.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Size, yeah.
That's fine. Mike, thank you so much for spending some time.
Appreciate it, man.
Really appreciate having you on.
That's just fun.
Awesome. Hey, we will be back live streaming here from the Arcadian Services booth at the Car Wash Show 2026. We have a session coming up on reclaim and how you can get better use out of your water and get rid of all the bad stuff. So check us out here in just a few minutes. We're back at 3 p.m. Central Time.